Alright guys, thought I'd do a video here of my current 55 two-door hardtop that I've actually done so many videos on the build-up of it. This is it pretty much in the beginning. This is how I got it. This is how it was delivered. You can see the date there, 3/2/2013. Interesting story on the car. I actually had a four-door 55 that I had bought locally off Craigslist that was a really nice rust-free car, and I was actually building it into a two-door roadster. I had put a pair of used two-door hardtop doors on it, and I went and bought a pair of rear four-door hardtop doors from a 56. I think one was a 56 and one was a 57. One on each side, you know. And I skinned them and cut them down, and so I had the quarter panels all welded, butt welded everything, and I bought jam sections for a hardtop reproduction from Dan Chuck. So I had to, you know, the doors back was all pretty much done, and it pretty much looked like a real convertible in that aspect, you know, using the hardtop stuff, because there's no belt line like on a sedan. I also used from one of the four-door hardtops I got at a place. I used the windshield frame area from it because the windshield, you know, is nearly an inch. I can't remember the exact number. It's almost an inch narrower. You know, the two-door post cars or four-door post cars they got a really tall windshield in them, and the roof looks really tall on them to me. So the hardtop models, sport coupes, have the lower roof line, and that's what I've always really liked about them, and being pillarless, you know. So anyway, I did that I was trying to get it to look as much like a convertible as I could. So then I ended up, I was actually in metalwork stage on that Roadster project, and now that's the second 55 Roadster project. That was the second one I've done. So anyway, I ended up with this car. Now this car was a California car its whole life, pretty much. A father and son actually bought it in 2000 something in Iowa, and the dad wanted a 55 and the son wanted a 57, so they didn't get very far with it, and they ended up putting it on eBay, and the guy I bought it from bought it in 2008. And him and his father also started to work on it, and then his father passed away. So I guess he lost interest in it at that point, and then I ended up buying it. The guy I got it from was from Wisconsin, so the car, you know, California, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Oklahoma. So the car, for being in California most of its life, has made one heck of a trek. Anyway, the car was mostly primered. The door, the trunk lid was original to the car. Everything else was pretty much just extras and leftovers and stuff. It did have some original interior panels still yet, so I do have all the door panel stainless that's original to the car. There it is, full of parts. When it was delivered to me, it was just full of parts and pieces. But I laid everything out and kind of went through everything. It's kind of inventorying, you know, basically to see what all's there and what's not there. There was lots of stuff in baby food jars. The dates on the baby food jars were 1987. Oh yeah, the steering column was original because it's gray also. The rear seat was original to this car. It still had the coral and gray material on it, although it was pretty ratted out. Now the front bench seat is from a 56 two-door car. But it was pretty much all there. The floors on that car, I mean, it's still unbelievable to see that. I guess that car had a nice life where it was before, and I got a few new parts with it. That grill guard, accessory grill guard, there was still in the original box. That was pretty cool. I think I sold just about everything there except the hood bird. But anyway, Now this is the car that, because I just could not figure out what color I wanted to paint it. I did want to keep the dash gray in the car, because that was like a first year, mid-year thing, having a gray dash with a cool and gray car. So I kind of wanted to keep that gray dash. So I was trying to think of what color scheme to go with. And I've always been a guy for black cars. I love black on cars. And so when I seen that car, I was like, okay, that's it. Now this is not my car. Excuse me. This is just a car that was on Google Images. And at the time, it was the only black and gray one that I could find. But it just, to me, it looks like a classic paint scheme, like it couldn't go out of style, and that's what I really, really liked about it. So here's the bad of the car. It had a horrible patch job on the quarter panel on the driver's side. They'd kind of went pretty much straight down by where the gas door is in the quarter, and they overlapped it, and it was caved and paved. The inside of the trunk floor, which would have been actually up in this area, they had cut it out here like that, and had it patched in there. The car took a pretty hard impact at one point in its life in the left rear, and it had everything wrinkled up pretty good in the floor. And I ended up, the four-door that I turned into a two-door Roadster, I actually just turned it into my parts car. Kind of a shame, but I really needed the parts for this car, and I bought a lot of new chrome parts for 55 and had, lowering stuff and wheels, and I did chassis work, and so I just transferred it all over, basically just swapped a body. But anyway, I used this whole area in my hardtop, even the inside panel here and the inner part here. Now I did put full quarters on both sides, because the other quarter had a pretty good little ripple down it from the impact. So I pretty much cut the car all to pieces and put it all back together. Now I bolted it onto my current chassis that I've been working on, all the body work on. I bolted it down with urethane body mounts, and then I pretty much cut it all to pieces and put all the pieces on while it was bolted down. That way, everything's kind of where it needs to be. Everything measured out square, so the car is all squared up. The chassis that was actually under the car when the guy brought it to me was from a 56 sedan, and it was the front frame horn was bent. So they obviously changed the chassis because of the rear accident. I'd imagine that frame was pretty tweaked out. But anyway, the trunk floor out of that car I used was very, very nice. But anyway, I took it apart at the factory seams, drilled all the spot welds and everything. I actually did butt weld this joint here in the car. You can see the weld here, but it's not overlapped, it's actually butt welded, and I ground it and everything. But it just ended up turning out pretty nice. I ended up just buying a new tail pan. The one in the 55 was pretty nice, other than the piece that they put in was actually a little rusty. Like the pieces they used were out of a rusty car. So I ended up just buying a new tail pan and putting it in there. So here is my cold air system. This is mock-up stage. I thought this was kind of neat. I hadn't seen that done yet. I was trying to think of something different. I was trying to keep a lot of the original style to it, using the Chevrolet scripted valve covers and the factory 4-barrel air cleaner. I ended up removing the snout off the air cleaner, and I had another lid, and I cut that piece out and butt welded it in there. It's a piece of 4-inch muffler pipe on the side coming out at an angle. This is a 90-degree elbow 4-inch that I got from Summit, and then I actually had to add, I believe it was 12 inches to it, and I butt welded it and ground the joints and everything so it's all clean. But you really can't hardly see it. I took I think I've showed it in another video, but it has the K&N embossed logo in it. I cut it out of an air cleaner, a 14-inch round air cleaner, and bent it in a curve and butt welded it in and ground it. And then I have a little bracket that I made here with speed holes. But it actually comes out, and I have a rubber ring around it, so that looks kind of stock-ish, I guess you'd say. That way it won't rattle, bang, and clang on there. And it's a pretty snug fit. But anyway, this is a K&N. I actually have a K&N cone that goes on the outside, so it'll get cool air from the grill area. But now this is a K&N filter skin. So if I ever get caught in a rainstorm, I'll put that on. Hopefully I'll never get caught in a rainstorm, because that would suck. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to touch up on a few things on that 55, but that's the story of how I got it and how it came to be to where it is now. And one day I'll have that thing done, and I'm sure going to be proud of it, especially for being a garage built, budget car.